It's the weekly wrap up. You have to deal with me again, everyone. I hope you've been enjoying the live posts. I love doing the weekly wrap up with you guys. I miss being outside and doing all the live posts like I used to do. I promise in spring and summer I'll be out with Judson and Olivia and the others sharing you the cats and things like that. It has just not been enough hours in the day. One thing that is always constant at a sanctuary is change, whether it be new rescue, whether it be animals that need exams or wellness, checks for emergencies, or it's been vendors. We've had Wi-Fi issues, as you all know, and we've invested so much in fiber and Wi-Fi around the sanctuary. So we've had vendors out, we've had electrician out. No matter how many times we fix our electric, the next time we build, somebody cuts through the new electric line. So it's crazy. We're also looking at things that might be really boring to you, but really important to the business. Different ways to invest some of our savings so it works more for the animals, but also keep it liquid, because as part of our strategic plan, we keep a minimum of a year operating in the bank. Meaning we know we have lives on the line, lives you love, lives I love, and I don't want, if donations ever went down, if there was ever a crash in the market or something like that again, I want to make sure we can pay our staff to care and feed and give vet care to the animals you love. So I'm looking into that type of things. We also today we're looking at a new database for donor data and ways that we can engage with some of the tools we haven't yet, like maybe like texting updates on the cats to people that want to sign up for a texting update. So all good things. It's just not really exciting to share them with you via live post. But know that when you get to see the fruits of our labor, that will directly, positively affect the cats and you. I hope you'll enjoy all of it. Another fun thing that we got to do is we try to get together once a month as a team. Even though we are huge, compassionate people, our staff have the best work ethic, we are spread out on 40 plus acres. And so sometimes the team environment can be hard. We also have staff that nobody wants to stop doing amazing work for the animals. And sometimes we have to force us all to take a break, kind of decompress and do something that we love to do. So yesterday we had a potluck for early Valentine's Day special, and people brought amazing things. Katie, you need to pull up your photos of what you made. I have it on my phone, but will you pull that up on your computer, the bread you made yesterday? And I'll come do a live post of that. So of course I bought my bread from Walmart because anybody that knows me knows I don't cook. But Katie, our new operations director, she got into this, man. She did tiger bread, which I had never heard of. I'm sure she found it on Google or something. And let me show you what she did. It almost looks like the stained glass behind me.
Hold on.
So I'm going to turn this around real quick.
Of course, it's not pulling up.
It's not pulling up? Well, then I'll go this way first. But the other thing is, during potluck, we decided that the staff was going to make Valentines. And so we used old magazines, old calendars we had, and we made over 60 Valentines. And we want to give back to the community, and so we are going to be giving these to the veterans home where we're at, and also assisted living. And so people were so creative and did wonderful things, and we're really excited. It was kind of being like a kid again, as in first grade, where we got to cut things and paste things. So look at what, this is the bread. So do you have the other picture? I've got a little bit of reflection.
Yeah, I've got the whole process.
She's got the whole process. This was the finished process. It's a face of a tiger, and she's going to show you. So it's always fun to have somebody here. Oh, here's the whole process. So she made the bread. Then she put, what veggies did you have down to make the tiger face?
I had orange bell peppers, black olives, garlic, and onions.
That was awesome. And so that was one of our, we had soup and bread, and people made homemade soup. So just a fun thing to share with you of what we did for Valentine's Day. And as you know, we want to share the love with you. So the media team put together some like electronic Valentines that are on Facebook and on Instagram that you can download. Please put them on your personal page, share them, change your profile picture. It's not only a way to share love with other people, but it's a way to share the sanctuary message. And the only way we can continue to change laws, get enforcement of laws, and end the big cat and small cat crisis is by more people knowing about the work we and other sanctuaries do. So definitely please download those wonderful, wonderful ways to do that Valentine's Day, electronic Valentine's Day. And then also I want to share with you is that we have something very special for you for Valentine's Day next week. So definitely stay tuned. Share the Love is a larger campaign. So not only does it have the Valentines, you'll see a few of the other things that we have in store for you next week. So it's a teaser, but I'm not giving anything away. But you also know that the auction is going on. We have a few online auctions a year where Jenny and her wonderful husband build wonderful things out of the cat toys for you. They are so unique what they do. And I know Judson and the staff, if they haven't yet, will take you through a live post with some of those items. Everything from candle holders to bird feeders to the Connect 4 game. I mean, that was so awesome. The Connect 4 game is made out of wood from the Ukraine Pride's crate. And then the little, what do you call those? I don't know. They're not chips, but checkers. They're kind of like checkers. Are made from cat toys. And it actually is fully functional. So it is so nostalgic for me as well as really cool. And what I couldn't believe is that there's still wood left from the Ukraine Cubs crates. But they keep doing that. And also during the auction, that's the one few times that we sell tickets for our online VIP event. And that is where you get to come into town, meet us at a hotel. The hotel's at your own cost, but we bus everybody up to the sanctuary. But of course, we first have a happy hour the night before where everybody gets to know each other. We bus up to the sanctuary. We provide lunch for you, tour of your favorite cats. Then we bus you back to the hotel, and then there's a hosted cocktail hour by us with unique silent auction items, and then we have a dinner all together. And then the next day we all met up for breakfast, which was so fun. We had such a fun group last year, and the one thing I heard is let's make this a 4-day event. Our followers, supporters, donors, family, all of you that came became friends. It's amazing. It wasn't just there for a presentation with us, but the community feel of everybody that attended and wanted to hang out, and it was just amazing. So if you guys attended last year, definitely bid on those again, and we will have one more auction where you can bid on those tickets as well. So, but a lot of fun, unique items. So let's get to some cat updates. One of our former caretakers sent for his birthday a big catnip ball. You've probably seen them smaller for the small cats, but this one was big. He wanted it for Lavani and Catio, and they really didn't care about it, sorry. But when we gave it to Anastasia, there's just adorable videos that went out to her sponsor of her actually caring about that little ball, the catnip ball. So we got a great idea from that. Not only did Anastasia and other cats love it, I know Langley and Denoma and Noah really liked it. But we've done those tunicicles and bloodsicles forever, but we thought, oh my God, if we could make them round like this catnip ball, not only can they lick it, play with it, but they can bat it around. So we didn't know how hard it would be to find molds that actually work to make ice cubes that are big enough for tigers of tunicicles that are fully round, but we've gotten creative. So you'll want to stay tuned. Once those items are delivered, we're going to get busy making fully round tunicicles and bloodsicles and see what the cats do with them. I also purchased a bunch of watermelons and squash and things, especially for the Ukraine cubs, because the Ukraine cubs are like Dash, and these cats are, you know, I know they're young, but I also want them to know they need to be smarter because they should be living in the wild. And if they eat everything you put in their enclosure, I'm curious what they would have eaten in the wild. But we were able to get frozen watermelon and things to the cubs because they can't have cardboard just like Dash, and trying to come up with even new and exciting things for them. And so that was fun. And the big reason we're doing that is because the Ukraine Pride have decided not only are they lions, but what you might not know is lions are one of the few species of cats that actually dig. They usually dig because there's motivation for something, but they can dig quickly and large. And Asha, the lioness we used to have, had dug a huge hole in a very short amount of time. Now it looks like somebody's asking if I use balloons. We were, but we have to be able to hang the balloons so they don't sit on something when they freeze and be flat. But we will be using balloons for some of that too. So we'll keep you updated on the enrichment. But the Ukraine cubs have now decided they're digging everywhere. They have holes in their habitat everywhere. Well, I was told there was a little rodent that ran under their skirting in their holding yard to the building, and now they're very obsessed with this area. And they've refilled it quite a bit of time, but the lions are digging it up again. So today they're putting more dirt, more rock, some big boulders to prevent them from digging. And then when the ground thaws a little more, we're going to be probably clearing out most of their holding yards, which are their smaller yards that go to the habitat, and cattle panel the whole thing and then put substrate back on top of it. They just keep us on our toes, and they have their whole habitat, but nope, they're holding yard, and they're not even locked in it when it happens. It's just they got their little mind fixated on a rodent, and the rodent has probably been far gone for several days, but they're still working on finding them. So they're pretty funny that way. I know you guys got to see, if you didn't, go back to Instagram or on this page and see the adorable video of Minerva and Fargo. Minerva is so small, of the Asian leopard cat, but she loves Fargo, and it has just so brought him out of his shell. He is just acting like a kitten. And at first glance, it looks like they're really rough and not getting along. That's not true. They grab each other by the throat, but they don't bite down. They chase each other, but they chase each other back and forth. They slept together last night. Elise came out. They've had 2 permanent overnights and 2 days and nights of being in their habitat and their room together, which is huge. This kind of is the graduation period of mergers. And then when Elise left for her shift today, she showed us the picture of those 2 on their platform just curled up together. So that's really, really exciting. And so to have those guys have friends is wonderful. Sam and the girls have been fully merged. And so now it's about moving some cats around, which means probably some of the savannas, like Hilo and those guys, might move. And we're going to try and get all the Asian leopard cats into the one long bungalow that has multiple rooms and multiple yards. And most of that is for Catio Town construction and other things. It's just easier from husbandry because we don't allow interns to care for the Asian leopard cats. We treat them much like servals, but we do have to go in with them. And so it is caretaker only zone. And so if they're not spread out around the sanctuary, that'll be much better. The little boy Rue, who is our smallest, still is really, really wanting to be boss of everything. And so he's going to have to live by himself for a while. He's might be this small and the smallest of them all, but he has the biggest attitude. So he's definitely a favorite around here. So the other thing is Kaya, the new bobcat, and Bogart. As if you remember, that Bogart moved up to quarantine, so Lynx, Ripley, and Miko could move down to his yard. And then Kaya and Bogart were next to each other with a hallway. They did really good. Honestly, didn't even care about each other. So now we moved them together so they're on a shared wall. And there's no negative interaction, but they both just feel like, oh, that cat's been there for a while. So we're hoping next week we will do a formal play date. What we're going to do in the meantime is kind of place things more in their yard along the shared wall and put another hiding spot in the yard, and have some hours where they can't go indoors, that they're kind of more encouraged to be closer to each other to make sure we still have positive reinforcement. Then we put catnip down on the shared wall. They might do some paw paintings, things like that, and go over there and feed near each other just to see that there is still a positive interaction before the play date. So people are asking if there's somebody in the room with me. Katie is here. We showed you what she made. She's our operations director. And then there's people wandering around. So whenever I do my weekly wrap-ups with you, I kind of just put you guys in what my work day is. I'm sure Judson cringes at his desk. I was just laughing, going, it'd be nice if I had that light on the front so I looked great like the Instagram people, or have big graphic in the back. It's just not my style. It's nice when people help me do that, but otherwise I just put on my calendar 5 minutes before I click hello to you guys. And it's just because that's how days flow here at the sanctuary. There isn't really time to stop, but I also think that's what makes us so real, is bringing you kind of what is actually going on. So kind of some other things is, you guys remember that Bobcat Essie has always come to us with an over grooming issue. She's one of our smaller girls. She is really outgoing, and then she will go into small bats of kind of pacing, and when things make her nervous. We were concerned. She's been on behavioral medication. She's been on enrichment. She's been on everything. She's, I would say, 95% happy, and we're still trying to curb 5% of figuring out what's going on with her. And it might just be she's a little higher strung bobcat. So when she was over grooming, we assumed it was happening in her den at night. We could prove that. So we thought moving her over to Wildcat Pines and moving Benson and Claude to her space would give her much more stimulation with the cats. Well, it sure has given her more stimulation, but recently we've been notified by the caretakers that she's been really, really grumpy, like just has a growling attitude. And most of it's been doing it in the building when she can see cats all around her. So they're gonna put up a blind that's in the hallway so she can't see across. But then also we're doing observations for a week or two, and it might be, again, you know, we try our best not to do this, but humans put our feelings on Essie and thought she needed something she didn't need. So we're gonna really try, that we've intervened with enrichment and stuff, really try and set back and just watch her and what she likes. And does she like her current space better than her old space? Does she like just to vocalize? If you know Gino the lion, as soon as you bring food or anything, he sounds like the grumpiest lion ever, and actually it's just how he vocalizes. So we're really gonna try and do some quiet observation to learn really what Essie's telling us. And that's what I love that our staff does, is we didn't just check the box that we moved her and we thought this would be great, that they're observing that there is a little different behavior here, but it might not be positive, or it might be just her asserting herself. So we'll wait and learn more about that. Other than that, we haven't been doing a lot of exams because there's been these mergers and moves, and when we do that, we use the caretaking team for observations. For example, Minerva and Fargo, we had 2 caretakers stay overnight last night. Sometimes they do checks every 2 hours throughout the night. They had trail cams up and watching them inside as well as out. But we really take those mergers seriously because it doesn't take long for something to happen if it were to go bad. And so that happens for a couple days. We also want our vet on call if a merger or play date didn't go well and we needed their assistance. So we don't want them doing surgery or an exam if something were to happen. So we take it very seriously, but we're really, really happy when those wonderful merger love moments happen. Somebody's asking for Clyde after his procedure. So Clyde, if we remember, had runny stool and bloody stool, and we did a fecal transplant, hoping it would give good bacteria. We also sent out a bunch of tests, and it really came back that he has inflammatory bowel disease, just like the Bengals, but his is pretty, I would say pretty, not serious, where he's getting the nutrition, he's not losing weight or anything like that, but he doesn't have solid stool, and sometimes it can come out bloody. So it's a really comfort thing. So we've tried different diets. He's on different supplements and medications to help firm up his stool. Because we also worry that if you have chronic diarrhea for years and years, it usually advances to cancer of the intestine or of the bowel. And so obviously we try to curb anything with inflammatory bowel as much as we can. But he's acting normal. If you saw him, you wouldn't know anything's different. Probably do videos of him and Bonnie soon because they're just always at the fence. And they're so adorable because they look like Nico and baby Jenga in their coat pattern, but they're just like Sarge in size. They're just little compact bobcats. So, so far he's doing well. Buddy the bobcat still is a little annoyed by mostly Ripley, the female lynx, but we haven't seen any negative growling or anything at the fence in the last couple days. So, and then also some interesting things as our staff go out and clean. One of our rules is because we house many animals that are protected or endangered species, that we want to make sure that we respect their fur. So you'll see during vet days, if we have to shave them, we will keep their fur. We usually cremate their fur along with, or burn their fur when we're doing our ash release ceremony, even though they're not gone, because we don't want fur to end up in the wrong hands. We can't put it in auctions. We don't want it sold across state lines. And the same thing is with whiskers and nails. So as staff are cleaning, those cats scratch on their logs, and we sometimes find really big nail sheaths from the big cats. And then I was brought this, and I know it looks big, but it is big. This is a whisker from Jeremy and Simon's room. And so we have a collection here, and I know everybody's dying and saying, why can't I have that? And it's because tigers are endangered species and there are laws. Now, we also want to respect the parts and pieces of the cat, but I wanted to show you that because it is, compared to, I think the domestic cat, I had one around here, but it is quite large. I know people are asking for updates on so many cats. Right now I just can't go through every individual list, but we try to give you updates as updates happen. We are still in a good weather pattern, though today it's raining, and I don't know when it's rained in February before without snow. So it's getting a little muddy around here. And we are really sitting down and starting to plan for our summer. It is the calm before the storm. We have to tear down all of the bungalows, build temporaries for the hybrids so that we can start constructing Catio Town. And at the same time, we've cleared the land. We're waiting on the fence company to come and put in their posts for the new bobcat areas. And all of that seems simple because I said it in 2 sentences, but when you think of you're constructing something, we need to take everything down, demolition it. We need to remove any trees that are in the area. We need to prepare any habitats around that. We usually wrap them with blinds and shade cloths so the construction doesn't bother them. We need to move our parking because that's going to be storage for supplies that are coming in, as well as dumpsters for removal. We have to figure out what furniture and everything we're keeping out of the bungalows and yards and where we're going to store those and repurpose them. And we also then, the contractors have to come in because we have water lines that have to go, electric that has to be redug, propane tanks, septic tanks. It's a disaster before it's going to be beautiful, but we're really excited because the small cats really deserve Catio Town. And over the next few months, we're going to need your assistance making sure that we can finish Catio Town, and there will be options to sponsor a square foot and other ways to help us get there. But don't worry, we will tell you when we need your help, and I know you guys will step up for it. The rest of the week here is, again, we're just getting ready for summer and everything. We're supposed to hear that AmeriCorps that we applied for to have a group of volunteers come full time for 6 weeks. We're supposed to hear in early March. And so that's another thing that we're just kind of waiting, because when they come, we have to house them. So we have to move interns around to be able to house them. We have to have staff to manage them 5 days a week. We have to make sure that it meets the project list that we got approved by the government for AmeriCorps. So it's wonderful, but it is also like adding 8 new full-time employees at a time. And so, and if that doesn't happen, then we are booking crew days, our volunteer crew days, 3 days a week to try and fill that. Now, if we get both, we have tons of people, but we need to make sure we can manage that because 12 people can't work on one fence line at the same time. So it's just a lot of juggling, coordinating, and this is still where we have animals be cared for, needing enrichment. Pools are going to need to be filled and serviced. Animals, sadly, there's going to be an animal that gets sick during this. It just happens when you have 150 animals. So it is crazy. So somebody just asked, is Catio Town for hybrids that are in habitats? Yes. So if you go to our website, wildcatsanctuary.org, at the top there is a link to Catio Town, I think under About Us, but it's also the revolving, and you can read much more about Catio Town, what the plan is, what the stages are of the construction and demolition, and what's still needed. So, you know, that's kind of, somebody's laughing, can't they sleep in a kitty bungalow? There are requirements, especially with, you know, volunteers of how they can sleep and where everybody can sleep and go. So we'll be doing that as well. But just happy to give you the updates that I was able to. One other thing is kind of starting to highlight, since it is our 25th anniversary, kind of highlighting different things that over the 25 years. I know many of you know our origin story, but some of you are new to the sanctuary. And so I am the founder and executive director. It's our 25th year. And my background was in marketing and advertising. I was working for agencies where the islands of the Bahamas was my account. I got to travel there twice a month at least, and I know everybody thought that would be wonderful, but I wanted to be back starting a sanctuary. Timberland Boots was one of my clients, Holiday Inn, then I worked for Coca-Cola, and on that I discovered animals being used in photo shoots. And at first I was smitten like most people, and I thought this was a great thing. But as I got closer and worked with the individual that was using animals for profit, for advertising, I was very disturbed about what I found. Everything from extreme cruelty to euthanizing animals that would no longer go on leashes for him, working with fur farms. It was just devastating to me. And I didn't think there was anything I can do because that wasn't my background. So I saw Parade magazine, my mom did, and she knew that I had been volunteering or trying to get better conditions for these cats. And she sent me an article on actress Tippi Hedren, who people my age know. People might know that she's Melanie Griffith's mother. That's how you might know her. She was in The Birds, Elfridge Hitchcock, The Birds. But for you youngins, she's Dakota Johnson's grandma. So from 50 Shades of Grey and many other things. And she had her own sanctuary, especially based off of viewing animals in movies in early years, especially big cats. So I went out to visit her, and she pretty much taught me at that time that there was too many cats and not enough facilities. And if I really wanted to help, I needed to start my own and step up. And so it was kind of, these things all happened at the same time. This horrible place and animals I loved that I was seeing being euthanized and taxidermied even at that facility I was at, to being brought to a fur farm where they were buying an animal and seeing bobcat after bobcat in metal bins that were ready to be electrocuted. It just, I had to do something. And so naively, I took Tippi to heart and I started helping animals, and I first wanted it to be an educational facility, and I learned quickly that a lot of the educational animals are being forced to do this. This is not something they want to do, and when they won't work, they trade out the animals. And so quickly, in a very short time, decided that this was going to be a sanctuary, a safe haven for them. And Tippi had been a dear friend and mentor for a long time and introduced me to some sanctuary associations, and I met other sanctuaries. I visited across the country. Back then there was not a network of sanctuaries, and they really saw each other as competition. And over the years, I'm pleased that there's the Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries, the Big Cat Sanctuary Alliance, and even though some of us have our differences, we're really trying to work together to end the big cat crisis and small cat crisis in America. And so if I know now what I knew then, would I have gone into this endeavor? Absolutely not. Would I? But as I've told everybody, I would still be in the industry. It is a hard industry. We are animal lovers. We get into it from different backgrounds, but nobody at that time had a book on how to start a sanctuary, how to grow from this is in my backyard, all of my money, all volunteer, to staff, HR, legal rules, permits for overseas. It's amazing what we've learned. And we've all said if we had time, we'd stop and write a book. In the early days of nonprofits, and I still see it happen a lot in the dog and cat world, nobody wants to share their victories or their how-tos or what they did A, B, and C, because they had to struggle to get where they are, and they don't think they should hand that to someone else. That is really a misfortune, because we're not helping animals and we're not putting ourselves out of business. It is okay to say we did something, we failed, we messed up. We sure did over the years. But I don't want anybody else to have to go through those hardships. Doesn't mean I'm going to fundraise for somebody else, right? And promote their money and things. But I am behind the scenes always working with different organizations, different people on how to help set up their nonprofit, what pitfalls we did, what they should do first, second, and third. We network all the time. I talk to so many groups. I can't even tell you how many directors and employees that we still collaborate now on a weekly basis, and I'm forever grateful for that. I have so many best friends and good friends like Cheryl at Wildcat Ridge in Oregon, who we've been together and knew each other before either of us had a sanctuary, and we both thought we were crazy what we were doing. And we've helped each other along the way, and we've learned each other along the way, and we're different along the way, but we are still really good friends. And I've met new friends in the industry, and they're colleagues, but they're friends, because this is a hard business. And sometimes it's just nice to call up somebody to say, this is really hard. Can you be there for me? And it was somebody that knows what you've been through, and somebody knows that you've lost a long-term animal, somebody that knows that, you've known this animal 25 years and somebody else knows it a week, and they want to, it's just, there's so much dynamics. I remember when I first moved to this site, we had a single wide 1970s trailer. I gave up my house. I gave up everything to live here. My husband's still mortified. I had to put tarps over the top because it was raining. We did not have bungalows. I had 22 bungalows in that single wide trailer with me. I had one intern, and she slept on my floor. We had dial-up internet, so you have to tell you how old I am. And we were building the sanctuary. And I am so blessed because so many people still funded us to build the sanctuary. I look back and go, how did you have faith that I was going to turn this with a team of wonderful people like you and that we have into something what it is today? But without that faith from all of you, we wouldn't be celebrating 25 years. So thank you for that. And thank you for those that have just joined the sanctuary. Every sanctuary has one of these stories. Every rescue has one of these stories. And without people having faith in other people, we wouldn't be saving animals, none of these organizations. So I appreciate your love for the animals, but I also want to say I appreciate your love for the people, because that's what really makes organizations go. So have a great rest of your week. Tune in next week. We have a Valentine's Day special surprise for you. And so I can't wait to share it with you. Talk to you later.